going to play New York, New York, and leave. And my wife, who was an avid Red Sox fan, said, well, you really can't do that, or that's it, 25 years and we're done. So I'm not doing that tonight. But when I was a young law student, I went to school in Boston, and I went to Boston University Law School. When I went there, our keynote speaker, Arthur Miller, was like a god. I mean, we revered him. And he didn't even teach at our school. He taught at Harvard across the river. And when I was a first-year law student, we had a courts professor who actually now teaches at NYU. His name is Clayton Gillette. Some of you may know him. But the best way to describe Clayton Gillette is he was sort of a Woody Allen version of a lawyer. And he was a wise guy. And we were talking in our torts class about the reasonable person standard and whether or not that should be an objective standard or whether or not that should be a subjective standard. In other words, if somebody does something idiotic, should they be judged based upon an objective criteria? Or should they be judged on their personal characteristics? So, in essence, should a stupid person be held to a lower standard of care than a very smart person? So, Professor Gillette calls on one of the students in the class, and he says to him, should a student who attends Boston University Law School be held to the same standard of care as a student who attends Harvard University? All right, insulting as hell, correct? So this student is actually pretty clever, and he goes, absolutely, Professor. Professor Gillette responds, well, excuse me, I think you need to explain your answer to your fellow students. He goes, Professor Gillette, they have Arthur Miller, all we have is you. Anyway, when I was a young kid, we played Little League. After every game, all the kids, and I always sat on the bench, because back then it really mattered if you won or lost. Today it doesn't really matter, so I never got to play, so I was the worst player. But after every game, we were required as kids to hold hands, and we'd walk across the field. And as we walked across the field, we had to pick up all the paper. And there was a lesson, I mean, I remember this today, it made a distinct impression on me, and there was a lesson that I learned from that that stayed with me forever, and that is, basically, at the end of the day, you need to leave the world a better place than when you found it. And that is a principle that guides what we do here at Appleseed. It's our quest as pro bono partners, as people who serve on the boards, as you out there who generously make contributions. It's our goal at the end of the day to leave a better day, to leave the world in a better place than we found it. So thank you. Again, if you want to join me at the bar is still open. I'll buy you all a drink, but I want those business cards.
Yeah!